The major cities are just full of people, food everywhere. Lots of people selling things in the street, just like DVDs that just came out in the US and stuff.
It's a huge city. You get to do everything in the big city. You kind of feel maybe lost for the first day, and then you just sink right into it because everybody's moving so quickly. But it's great.
The infrastructure, having the buildings really close together and very small, very compact. Being on the streets is always reminding me of not being in the US because it's so quiet.
Well, a lot of my friends got into surfing. That wasn't really my thing. I wasn't too good at it, but I did fall in love with scuba diving, and after going to the Great Barrier Reef, that's something that I will definitely be doing again.
And Nice itself is amazing. It's like being on vacation all the time, but you should go to school.
Think about what is so incredible about Haifa as a city is that it's very unique to other places in Israel, is that a combination of different cultural experiences and different people, and I think what attracts a student to the University of Haifa is you really have to go and seek it out. It's not something that is so mainstream, which I think is the purpose of being abroad, is to push yourself into new areas and places that you're unfamiliar with.
You don't yell to someone that's like 50 feet away from you. Yelling is kind of looked down upon. Also, you're supposed to be more of a relaxed kind of a culture. Having grown up in New York and having my mom live in Brooklyn, and I spent a lot of time in Brooklyn and New York, this was kind of so far outside of anything I've ever imagined or thought of. In all honesty, I went over there. The school happened to be very, very international. The students had kind of adjusted to that. So when I did yell, become my rambunctious self, it was acceptable and it wasn't looked down upon.
Well, you can't live in sweats. Everybody will stare at you, so that's definitely one thing. I'm not in College Park anymore.
But I was in a grocery store and I got my groceries and they just handed me the basket full of groceries back, and I was really confused because, I'm not supposed to take the basket. And then I realized you're supposed to bag your own. But it was just this moment where I was just like, I don't know what to do.
Their whole way of going about things is differently. Like even on the tube, like the transportation, we'd always come in big groups and all be together. But they travel with small pairs or by themselves, and they don't really talk on the tube. And we were all coming laughing and having a good time.
Well, I went to Poland with a couple other people from my program. And we took the overnight train from Vienna to Krakow, and the train was just, the lights kept flickering on and off. People were sleeping in the walkway of the train. That was the one time I felt I was just a world away.
The theater class was great. We saw a different play every single week, which was really fun because they weren't musical, so you really wouldn't see them if you didn't know about them. So that was interesting, and then we talked about it every week in class.
I think, some of the main things were just trying to understand how other people do business, and not only business, how other people live their lives, and just, talking about, okay, what can I learn from other people, and how can I incorporate that into my life, into my business viewpoints. The way they do business there is totally different than the way we do business here.
Thought it'd be really cool to learn the language and understand it, not from a translated view, but right from the source.
My professors were awesome. I feel like I learned a lot. I took a class in fascism and the new right wing, which was fascinating. World War II in Central Europe, and they brought us to Mauthausen, which was the largest concentration camp in Austria.
We lived in the village Hacienda Vieja, and we held an after-school program for the kids. And we got to know each kid for their individuality, and it was a great experience.
was instead of reading about the south of France and about the food and the history, you're actually walking through the streets with a baguette in your hand, and that's really experiencing what you're learning about instead of just reading in a book. So it's traveling to different cities and just observing people right there instead of reading about it here in Maryland. That made it that much more epic in my mind.
And people were just really friendly. You just go up and start talking to people and they wanted to talk back. Even just hanging out on the beach, sometimes people would come and sit with you and just wanted to know what you were doing and what you were up to.
I think like the concept that I would bring back would be true diversity. That Cape Town is an incredibly diverse place with people from different countries, different tribes, different languages, different skin colors, different outlooks on life. And that I've come back, and yes, we do have a lot of diversity here, but it's a completely different ballgame over there, which I really loved.
We had a thing called Tico Time. Tico is like a Costa Rican nickname for a Costa Rican, and we had food and we talked to them about cultural differences and things that helped us.
I mean, it's like 10 times more laid back. Like, they just enjoy themselves, and they're not on some sort of watch or anybody else's, time. If you're going out to dinner, for instance, like, you'll get your food immediately, but you'll be there for hours.
Going over there and spending a half year over there actually was shocking, because it's more of what was actually there, how people are passionate of just living.